Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to embellish an adjustable slider clasp bracelet. Now, this is what it looks like, and the reason I had to do this video is because I was like, oh no, people are going to see this and not quite know what it is. So the piece that I'm talking about here is this silver piece. Now, this should look fairly familiar because what it does is it has that little adjustable slider clasp to it, so you can see that you can pull on the sides of the chain and it will adjust. But this is sort of an unfinished version. So we have two open ends here. Now I've done a version in gold here, and I'm going to be writing this up as a project that you'll be able to see at beadaholique.com. But the difference with this one is that instead of doing what I'm about to do, which is where I'm creating a strung focal, all I've done is created some simple wire loops and 3 little gemstones on each there. And then if you look closely here at the bottom, the toggles there are just going to be some wrapped wire loops. I figured I would do some wrapped wire loops on the bottom and some simple wire loops on the top, but you can do whatever you like. So there's a little way to embellish it. I think this would also be great with some charms or tassels or anything that you want to put on these adjustable bracelets. So it's going to come and it's going to look a little bit like an X here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a strung focal where I'm going to string up some gemstone beads there instead. All right, so let's talk about what you're going to need for this project. You're going to need a pair of round nose pliers, a pair of chain nose pliers, a pair of Xuron 4-in-1 crimping pliers, and a pair of flush cutters here. Now I'm going to be using some beading wire here, and this is the 49 strand from Beadalon, and use whatever cord you have that is going to suit your design. So if you're using heavier beads, you might want to go with a heavier one. Obviously smaller, more delicate beads, you might need to adjust that size. Okay, I have my gemstones here. I have my piece, I have my 2 head pins, and over here I have 2 thread protectors, and I'm going to show you why those are important a little bit later. And then I also have 2 crimp tubes and 2 crimp covers. Now what's great about those is they actually come fully coordinated in this basic elements, and this is the gold one here. I wanted you to be able to kind of see it through the packaging. So you get a really nice package of crimps and covers that are perfectly coordinated, so you can buy one piece and you're all set to go. All right, I'm going to set this aside and let's go ahead and get started. So I've already taken out a little bit here, and I'm going to use my coil here just as my bead stopper. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sliding on some beads here. Now I have a nice little mix, so I'm just going to start to choose a couple, see what feels good. So to create a lovely little pattern here. This would be great if you wanted to do some Swarovski crystals, or this would also be lovely for a Mother's Day gift if you have kids and you want to do a little focal of all of their birthstones. So there's a lot of fun you can have with this here. So I'm just going to string up a few of these. And again, the size is going to depend on how big you want your bracelet to be. So you can string a little bit more, you can string less, and I'll show you sort of why that's important a little bit later. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to go for one more of these. And let's end it with this one here. All right, perfect. So now this is going to be my little focal there. And to one end, what I'm going to do, and we don't even need to worry about this just yet, I am going to slide on 1 crimp tube, and then I'm going to slide it up and over one of my little horseshoe thread protectors or wire protectors, and go back down through, pull that, making sure it sits at that crest. And now what I'm going to do is, because this is the first side of my little component here, I'm just going to go ahead and slide that up there. This is how I like to try to not waste any wire whatsoever. All right, so now I have my crimp and my little horseshoe protector ready to go. I'm going to come in with my Xuron 4-in-1s, and I'm going to set that crimp right into that little notch that's closest to the fulcrum there. So what that's going to do is that's going to press it down like a little V, and then I can take that, rotate it 90 degrees, move it to the next little notch there, and press down one more time. So I have that all set and ready to go on one side. Now the last thing I need to do is take that crimp cover, place it over it, and now you can either use your 4-in-1s, because it has a little needle nose plier on the end, or you can use your chain nose pliers, whichever you have. Let's say you have just some old-fashioned crimping pliers. This is where you'd want to use your chain nose pliers. And I'm just bending that together just like so, just until it comes together. And we just want to make sure that it's going to close. Nice, like a little clamshell there. There we go. And just press that together so it looks like a nice little silver bead. Perfect. All right, so now what I like to do is I like to see if I can get my wire through at least one of those beads there. And depending on the size of your beads, that's very possible. And then you just go ahead and come in with your flush cutters, trim that end, and set that aside. And now I'm just going to slide all that down. Now here's where I can come in and trim that off of my cord because I have my component all ready to go. Now, if at this point you want to go ahead, you can actually do a little bit of sizing here. So you can sort of put a little bead stopper on here, see if this is the right size. You can try it on, you can take it off, see how that fits for you. You might want to remove a bead. That's all I'm saying. You have that option right now. And here we go. So we're going to do pretty much the same thing. Sliding on that crimp tube, sliding on that little horseshoe there, sliding it up and over, down through, and go through that crimp tube. And if you can at this point, before you start crimping anything, try to sneak that back through that first bead like I talked about. Now, if that's not working for you, let's say you've chosen a really thick wire and it's just not coming through, don't worry about it. This is kind of an extra little security step that I like to do. It is by no means necessary to what you're working with. Now, when you're working with a little component here, I like to leave a little bit of slack because I want it to be able to bend around my wrists. So you don't want to pull it too snug. So just be aware of that before you crimp this final crimp tube. All right, now come in with our crimping pliers, give it a little love, twist it, little love. There we go. And now here's like where I like to come in and just trim that off. So that way I have a little extra room at the top there to fit my crimp cover in. And again, we're just going to come in and pinch it together. And we want to make it look as much like a little ball as we can. There we go. All right. So we have this piece all done. Now, before I attach it to my bracelet there, what I want to do is I want to take, let's see, I think I'm going to do one of the purple ones and one of these dark green ones. I think that's going to work really nicely. So I'm going to take a head pin, slide on that bead, come in with my round nose pliers, and all I'm going to do is just bend that back just a little bit. And I'm going to create a simple wire loop. Now you can do a wrapped wire loop. It is entirely up to you. It's a very simple wire loop there. Come in with your flush cutters, trim that off, set that down. And let me show you that one more time here. So I have a purple bead, slide it all the way down. Come in with your round nose pliers just above where that bead is, bend that backwards, bend it up and over the top as it comes around, rotate your pliers, bring it across, remove your pliers, come in and trim that wire. There you go. And we can set that aside. Now, I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers here, just open that up and slide it onto one end of my bracelet and close that up. And I'm just going to repeat for my other little component here. Now again, this is great for some tassels or some charms, whatever you fancy. Because the great thing, and I know that I'm opening and closing my simple wire loops here, but this is why if we go to the other side, you're going to see that all of these little jump rings on the end, they are open jump rings. So all you need to do is just come in with your pliers here. And you see I'm going to use the Zurons as the other part of my chain nose plier to open it up. And now I can just slip this component on. So you see, I don't even have to worry about messing with it before that. So now just move to the other side. Come in and just find that seam on that jump ring there. Twist to open. And now I'm just going to slide it on and close it up. And now I have a beautiful adjustable bracelet there, and you can tighten it and you can adjust it from here, make it shorter. Let's say it's going to be really nice and short and you want long dangles. It can be like that, or it can be a little further out, just however you like it. So this is kind of showing you two little options there. So I know I did a very fast simple wire loop. If you are unfamiliar with that technique, we do have that in a separate video there for you. But we do have wrapped wire loops, simple wire loops, and a nice little strung bracelet component there. So that is how you can make these and embellish them. Get fancy, have some fun with these. You can also do some great wire wrapping focals, a lot of great design options for this. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. You can get all of these supplies and see even more tutorial videos by heading over to BeataHaliq.com. And if you're new here to our YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all the latest from Beata Haliq.